All right, fellas.
All right, we are now live. Good evening, Facebook family and community. My name is Isaac. I am part of Finances, and I've got my brothers on right now. I've got Brother Marcus and Brother Patrick. How are you brothers doing?
Great, man. Zero.
Doing blessed. Oh,
Awesome.
you just talking? Doing great, Isaac.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. It's good to hear. Good to hear. Our other brother will be on a little shortly. That's Brother Trevor Evans. Trevor is on the road right now, and he just texted us not too long ago his ETA, so he will be here in just a moment. We want to certainly thank everybody for joining in today, whether you're registered for the meeting or you're watching on Facebook Live. Today's topic is about Black finances, in particular Black economics. And there are some key components to that. Brothers, what are your thoughts on us getting ourselves together and handling these Black economics?
Well, I will let Marcus go. You wanna start it
It don't
off?
matter, man. Just whoever want to. I don't want y'all fighting each other. What are some of the things that you guys feel about this topic? Because we obviously had a production meeting, so and I'm gonna discuss obviously where we're gonna go, but I just want to get you guys' thoughts on it before we get started.
Well, I think that it's one of the most important things that we have to actually sit down and look at. Today, I actually went down. I live in Atlanta, so if anybody knows about Atlanta, it's a lot of historic going on here. It's a lot of Black people starting things, started talking about economics, talking about how to be a force in our economics here in America. So I went down there today with one of my friends from out of town, and really got a lot of inspiration from just the history of us doing this, and how we are doing, how us in this group we're stepping in those seats and continue to move forward as far as pushing that envelope, pushing that education to our community, trying to push us to the next level, and have some respect and a seat at the table.
Right. You were down at the King Center?
Yes, sir. I also passing out. I wanna pull it up on my phone, and I it was my first time actually seeing this, but I have a picture I took by it, and it spoke about it being the training ground for business, religious, social institutions founded by African Americans on Auburn Street, Auburn Avenue. If anybody knows where that's at, so on that street, right, they provided training for economic, political advancements during the post World War II era, and it's also offered opportunities to gain skills, training, and courage necessary to continue to contend for justice and equality. So I went down there to get just not necessarily more motivation, but just to look back at where my people came from and what they were doing back in that time, so that it can propel me to understand how important my mission is and what we're doing and how important it is to actually get this financial literacy out to our community.
Absolutely, brother. Marcus, do you have anything to say before we hopped on it?
Pat, he pretty much touched on a good bit, but even though us as a community been so backed up in every aspect of economics, you know what I mean, it's turning around, you know what I mean, and we can definitely spearhead some leadership and some focus to bring to our community to really help and generate the knowledge, help to create and educate, so that we can really turn this thing around, and like Pat said, have a seat at the table.
Right, indeed. So let's get started, brothers. And Patrick, you went down there, man. I know you said you didn't need any more motivation, but there ain't nothing wrong with getting a little inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you get, when you go down there and you see where we came from. You don't know, you got to know where we came from and our struggles, so that you have the courage and the conviction to continue moving forward. You don't want to let our people down that sacrifice so much to put us where we are. So, you know, it's nothing wrong with going down there. I know I've been down to Auburn Avenue and the King Center myself on a few occasions. And, you know, it's just so much history there, man. You know, just here, there's just the history and the start of the civil rights movement right here in the state of Georgia on that street. And that says something, because it just took a few people, man, a few people on that little area that spread out throughout the entire world. And you're absolutely right, brother. This is exactly what we're about to do here for ourselves. So, you know, when it comes to Black economics, there are 4 things that we need. You need land. You need labor, capital. You need entrepreneurship.
Yep.
And those are the things that we absolutely positively must have. So when it comes to land, you know, you guys know that I'm a Muslim in the Nation of Islam, and we talked about this in the production meeting. We have, I know I think it's at least in the thousands of acres of farmland. We produce stuff for ourselves. We try to own our own buildings. And the purpose of having land is quite important, simply because when you own the area, you get a chance to control your environment. And when you can control your environment, you get a chance to control what comes in it. You know, we're in the midst of this pandemic, and we're all up here trying to control our environment. We got these masks on, we take our vitamins, we do all of these different types of things to control the environment in which we're breathing in. We keep our house sanitized and all of that. But as a people, when you own land, you're able to do the same thing. That's how you become a sovereign nation. So you're able to feed yourself when you have farmland. When you've got other businesses, you're able to take advantage of certain tax benefits and things of that nature, which we'll get into as well. But land is vitally important. I know, Tanisha, when we were doing the production meeting, we were talking about the largest landowners in the United States. Guess what? Take a wild guess. He's been in the news. Take a wild guess of who the largest farmland, not land, but farmland owner is in the United States right now. Wild guess.
Donald Trump.
Nope. Good guess.
Farmland.
Farmland, not total land, but just farmland.
Arnold.
Okay.
Bill Gates.
I was ready to say Bill Gates too. That's crazy.
Bill Gates just recently, I think it was just last year, became the largest owner of farmland in the world. Now, I can't remember the gentleman that has more land total, but that farmland allows you to produce, or whatever land you have, it has natural resources, farming or whatever, it produces capital for you. So when you need capital, the more land you have, you know, you can put you can put buildings and businesses on it. You can rent it out. It's still yours, but it's able to create that money and income for you that you can use to funnel into other projects. When I was in college, I had I worked for a hotel once, and the gentleman's name was Jay Patel. And I worked for him for a long time. And then eventually when I get ready to graduate, he said, Isaac, you know, he said, my name is not Jay Patel. And I said, well, what is your name? He told it was some J, something, and then a very long last name. I said, well, why do you sign everything called Jay Patel? He said, because I'm part of a corporation of Indians that came here back, this was in the 90s. So these people came back in the 70s, and they pooled their resources together and started buying property. And it's called the Patel Corporation. So a lot of times when you go to a 7-Eleven or a hotel or some other thing, and you see somebody named Patel, they're not necessarily, sometimes they are named Patel, but a lot of times they're not. And so he said, what I did was I applied to the Patel Corporation. And the Patel Corporation, we focus on certain businesses, Dunkin' Donuts, hotels. We focus on, there's our brother, we focus on hotels. We focus on gas stations, things of that nature, just core businesses that everybody needs. And then he said, so when I went there, I applied to him. They gave me the loan. The first thing I opened up was a Dunkin' Donuts. What's up, Trevor? Good to see you, brother. Glad to have you on. He said, first thing I opened up was a Dunkin' Donuts. After that, he said, the next thing I opened up was a hotel. And then I was in Daytona. And then I moved up here to Tallahassee and I opened up 2 hotels. Once the loan is paid off, because that's where the money goes. I earn a salary, he said. Once the loan is paid off, I pay the money and I pay the money back to the Patel Corporation. I want you to hear what I'm saying. I forever give 10% of my profit to the Patel Corporation so that the next person can get it. Now I want you to think about that. How many people have been typing in the text messages, the chat messages, how many Patels that they see owning stuff? People have been putting in the text messages. They own supermarkets, they own gas stations, they own this, they own that. Yeah. And they did it one step at a time, buying land, buying core businesses and sharing that information and sharing that with each other and keeping it in-house. What if we did that? Think about that, brother. What if we had the core businesses that we know that are going to be successful? What do Black folk know that we're going to do in a recession and not in a recession? We're going to take care of our hair, for sure. We're going to look good. We're going to buy some clothes. We're going to do all of these types of things. And I just thought that it was absolutely fascinating that they were able to do this. Well, you say, well, OC, how can we get this capital? Well, one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight, we always talk about the IUL, right, fellas? So, but we never really, and I don't know why we haven't done this before, but obviously, you know, our producer and owner of the show, Sister Tanisha, she actually came up with the idea, was like, well, fellas, we always talk about them, and you guys do an excellent job talking about it. Why don't we show it to them? Why don't we give it to them in actual numbers? So we actually have, if Tanisha will go ahead and pull that up so we can start talking about how to get this capital if you don't already have it. Let's pull up the 1-year-old, Tanisha, and show what that would be. And this is coming from the, why am I losing my mind? It's Saving Your Future book. So Trevor, man, how you been, brother?
I am wonderful.
How was your trip?
It was, I'm still on it. No, I just got out of the car. So I got my driving shades on still and everything. So
I see you. I see you, man. Listen, I just got my prescription driving shades as well, brother. So I got, you know, I'm blind. So I can't just go into the Ray-Ban store and buy some glasses. I gotta go. I mean, I can, but then I have to go put some medicine in them as soon as I do it. So I got my Ray-Bans.
That's what he got in them. That's what he got in them.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I got my Ray-Bans in the car.
You know, y'all fellas ain't been eating y'all carrots.
Well, I've been devoid of carrots for a long time, brother. Long time. So so here we are. So Tanisha, this is on the 1-year-old that she is pulling up for us. So can everybody see it? You know what? I need to change my screen here so I can see it with my blind self. So go. I can barely see it myself. I should have done this earlier. So where are we at here? So we've got a 1-year-old, and I think the amount that we're paying is $226. $226 a month. Is that right, Tanisha? Is that what we're on?
Monthly premium. It looks like it's 200.
It's at 266.
266. All right. So $266. So this is on a 1-year-old child. We want to make sure that we're able to kind of explain and show what's going on. So in the column right there where it says premium, yeah, if you come up just a little bit, that is what the annual premium is per year. And then you got the death benefit on the far right-hand corner of $500,000. Now let's look at just 266. And this is just doing the minimum. This isn't saying that you put in extra money, which you certainly can do. But by the time that child
and keeping it level.
Yeah, and she's keeping it level, correct. This is just keeping it level. So if you're looking at this, when that child turns 18, they've got $29,126 in cash value by the time that child turns 18. When that child is 28, you got $68,515. Now you can, this is called level, in other words, we're growing it very, very slowly. We could have done this where we were growing this exponentially, but what I want to look at is, you know, when you go back down to where it says 18 years of age and having $29,000 worth of cash value, there is no whole life policy for an 18-year-old person that is going to build cash value that quick, especially if we turn it on where it is increasing. It's just not going to happen. But even when we have it level right here, it is showing how much cash value can be built up. And so this is one way that you can have just for a child at 18 saying, you know, well, I want my child to go to college. Absolutely fine. You can make sure that you do that. I wish we had the example of our brother Tazim Wajid, what he was putting in for his children when he was playing in the NFL. He was maximizing it every year as much as he could without becoming a Met. So he was maximizing that part each and every year. What I'd like to do though, Tanisha, just in the interest of time, is go to the one that has the $500 on the 18-year-old. And the reason I want to show the $500 on the 18-year-old is because I personally always mention how, as a group of individuals, if you say, well, man, listen, I want to try to maximize some money and pool our resources together. And if somebody decides to, if it's like a family or even a group of friends or a group of brothers that have grown up together and they all can put aside $100. Well, you putting aside $100 individually is $1,200 a year. What can you do with that with compound interest? So I think Tanisha, she's pulling that one up. When she shares that screen, we'll get into it. So Trevor, oh, there she is. I was about to go into something else. So this is the $500 one. So think about 5 friends all putting in $100 each into an account each and every year to make sure that, and again, Tanisha did this level. She did not do this increasing. Now, if you remember, it took the baby, the 1-year-old, it took them basically 18 years to get to $29,000 in cash value. For the 18-year-old, you actually get to that a little bit shorter amount of time. As this continues to grow, scroll down a little bit, sis. So you're literally at $17,000 by the time you're at 25. $69,950. We probably should have done this using increasing to kind of show what actually can happen if you have it increasing. But still, this is a significant amount of money still that would not be grown as quickly had we not done, had you not pooled your resources together.
Isaac.
Yes, sir.
If I may, sir.
Go right ahead.
Now, you know, we all experience this quarantine, right?
Exactly.
Except not all of us experience the same result of this quarantine, correct?
That's correct.
Now, all over the country, there were people that have these policies.
All over.
Whether or not they were being furloughed, whether they were being fired or whatever had to go down, lots of people got phone calls from individuals like me and you, and the phone call when something like this, okay? Nisha, put that back up, Nisha, please. Right, and keep it right there. So let's say I had a client that was 46 years old, right? Just lost a job or was told he can't go to work, all right? The phone call kind of went like this. Isaac, hi, this is Trevor, your age, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you were furloughed or if you were fired or let go from your job, but I just want to call and let you know that in your policy at the age of 46 right now, okay, you have roughly around $72,000 that you could just use, okay, for whatever purpose you need to use it for. or if you would like to borrow from your cash value of 157,000, you certainly can do that as well. So in case you lost income during this quarantine, or you lost income because of this COVID, you have $72,000 that you could use without paying back, okay? 9% of that, or you can borrow up to 9% of the 157 that you have in cash value at less than 1%. So basically what I was telling people was this: I don't care if you got fired. I don't care if you have no income at all. You still qualify for a loan of less than 1% if you choose to borrow from the 157. If you don't want to borrow it, then that's all good. Then take up to 90% of the 35,000 that you have in your premium, okay? Not many people got that phone call. If you're on this call, if you're on a Zoom call, if you're on Facebook, wouldn't you have loved to have gotten that call from your broker if you had done this 18 years ago or 20 years ago? All right. Again, the phone call went like this: I don't care if you're unemployed. I don't care if you got no job. You can still borrow, okay, 90% of the 157 at less than 1%. Please tell me what other vehicle will allow you to do that. That's the beauty of this vehicle.
And Trevor, the good thing about it is somebody said, well, I got a 401k, Trevor. I took money out of my 401k. Guess what they got? They got taxed.
They got taxed, and they got taxed still.
Exactly. But this, you don't get taxed on. You took that, if, for instance, like you said, you either took that 90% or you took out a lesser amount to help pay your bills while you were out here trying to survive. What type of feeling must that have felt like, Trevor, when you call somebody? It's like, hey, listen, you got X, Y, and Z amount of dollars in your cash value in here. This is how we help you out.
You know what? So many people, oh my gosh, I prayed for this. I said, well, here I am. I'm the angel showing up to your front door.
But brother, in all seriousness, they did it on their own. They just listened to somebody smart, somebody like Delitha with sound financial advice, and they went on here, brother, and got this money back. And which is exactly what you need to do. So this is just an avenue we wanted to show you of how you can create capital. Now we did this on a level. We probably should have done this on increasing, so it kind of shows you what you can do. We could have done it certain numerous ways. We could have dumped in lump sums of money. You know, you say, well, Isaac, I don't make a lot of money. Well, do you get taxes back at the end of the year? Or when you file taxes, do you get money back? Well, yeah, I get quite a bit back. Okay, you can do a lump sum and add that in. So there are numerous different ways with which to do it. So the next thing we want to hop into real quick is I want to talk about, when we talked about land, we talked about estate preservation and preserving the land. Now we're going to have a couple of sessions on this. Like, this not just going to be Black economics tonight and then we skip this. This like a ton of these things we need to take care of. But one of them is estate preservation. And I wanted to share, I'm not going to show the screen, but I wanted to share an article that I read recently. It's about two of our kings, one being Michael Jackson, the other one being John Singleton. Michael Jackson had proper estate planning. And when he passed away, his estate with all of his catalogs and all of the other things that belonged to him was in a trust, and it was close to $1 billion. His mother is the trustee, and his children are the beneficiaries of the trust. So when he passed away, even though a lot of people came at him, his stuff was protected, and his children were billionaires at his death. Our other brother, whom we love tremendously, John Singleton, he had $35 million in assets when he passed away. I'm just going to read off a couple of things here that he's dealing with. So estate planning for him, he started out with 7 children, obviously giving birth to his first child. And when he created his will, it was back in the 90s off of his first child. He has since had 6 more children, and he had $35 million in assets. Trevor, what do you think happened when he passed away?
Who, John Singleton?
John Singleton, with just the will from 1991 or whatever, when his first daughter was born.
Guaranteed probate.
Exactly. It went into guaranteed probate, and it's still in there today. All of his children and his wife are fighting over who gets what, and the court has to now determine what's going on. So it's an additional, the one thing here, let me just read off. On the other hand, Singleton, the Oscar-nominated director of such movies as Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, High Learning, his alleged $35 million fortune is still being contested in court by his 7 children, 6 of whom were not included in the will he created in 1993 when his eldest daughter, Justice Singleton, was born. According to his outdated will, Justice is the sole beneficiary of her father's fortune. However, John Singleton's mother, Sheila Ward, who is the executor of his estate, filed his will in probate court and listed his assets at only $3.8 million. Therefore, an additional $31 million of Singleton's estate is being contested. So instead of being able to mourn their father in peace, they are out here fighting over ridiculous stuff.
Isaac, if I may.
Go ahead, brother.
I want to get something clear. This is a perfect example of what I mean when I say, you know, we got to be careful when we toss around certain words, you know, like financial education and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, and one of the things that I hear a lot in our culture is that we must get a will. We must get a will, okay? Now, I understand the intention behind getting a will, because we want to believe that a will protect our assets when we pass on, and our children can get what we earned and or can get what we leave them. But understand this, that is not estate planning, at least not for you, okay? That is called government funding, all right, and government control. Because when you create a will, all right, your estate is guaranteed to go into probate because someone will contest some portion of that will. Someone will, okay? Even if it's not, the government will still have control over who gets what and what gets what, because the first thing that got to get paid are the taxes, right? So before anybody sees anything, Uncle Sam or the U.S. Treasury will get paid first. If you want to prevent that, then proper estate planning is what you have to take care of. And a will may not be the proper estate planning for you.
Trevor, bro, we know that, brother, but you're dropping bombs on people right now. I mean, because that is certainly what people constantly believe, that we got to have a will. And you know, man, estate planning can be as simple. So like my mother and father have a trust. And they contacted me and my brother and asked us what we wanted. Now, I didn't ask for anything, but the one thing that I wanted that they put in the estate, in the trust, was the rocking chair that my mother used to rock me to sleep on. I want that chair. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. Seriously, my mother.
And you'll get it.
My mother used to sit me on her lap and read to me until I fell asleep. Some of my fondest memories of my mother are falling asleep in her arms. So I was like, Mama, all I want is the rocking chair. She put that in the trust. So
and you'll get it.
And so if something happens when we go there, I know nobody's gonna be like, well, I want that rocket chair. Too bad, bro. I got that. You know what I'm saying? That's mine. You got whatever else you want in the house, but I got that. And it stops people from doing that. I know people that there's a gun when my grandfather died. There was a gun that we used to hunt with that belonged to my grandfather. That went missing. People were like, who got the gun? Now, you know, a relative got the gun. They just ain't telling nobody. It's just, that's how it happens. So it can be, you say, well, I don't have a huge estate. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money. You don't have to have a huge estate. You can just simply list what goes where and to whom. And it's
Exactly.
not that complicated.
If I wanted to leave a lock of my hair, okay, to my daughter.
What hair,
all
brother?
right?
You like me, man. What hair, brother?
Then that's exactly what I could do. You know, so estate planning, it goes it goes much more beyond just the will, because estate planning is something that you put together, that you lay out, that you want, and no one has control over that but you. And that is the beauty of it. And another beauty about our policy and IUL, if you get the proper face amount, okay, on these IULs, you can have an attorney be assigned to you that can put together your estate planning for you all at no extra cost if you get the proper face amount on your IUL. So these are perks that people have to pay for, and it can get pretty expensive, you know, but you get this as a benefit by jumping into an IUL and getting the proper death benefit to afford you that benefit of estate planning.
Exactly. So, brothers, man, this you know, I really appreciate these nuggets. Like all of us, you know, in the mosque, you know, we always talk about being in the cipher, being in a circle, and having 306 degrees of wisdom. And so when we're out here talking, man, you know, all of us know some aspect of
what cipher y'all be in? I know what cipher I be in.
Oh man, you know, and you know, a lot of, you know, I'm about to tell my age. A lot of people think that the cipher is, you know, is just strictly with rap, you know, being in a circle, whatever. But that comes from
Ask them Rastafarians, boy. They'll tell you what cipher is.
That's right, brother. That comes from sharing that wisdom, brother. That circle, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from.
I'm a damn trip.
I bring that up just to say that you know, we all have this, but once we start talking about this, it just starts bringing up other little jewels that we all have. And like, you know, the fact that you just dropped that on us just a second ago, you know what I'm saying? These are just things that people need to hear that we just don't get a chance to hear often. And that's the beauty of us and this platform here at WSB, which is us being able to get this information out, share it with our people. Like right now, you know, it's somebody that hadn't thought about getting an estate, getting your estate in order, having some type of plan. You know, our production manager, she always talks about her why in doing this. And she's lost numerous relatives in the last 2 or 3 years. Recently, just, and like she lost one a week ago or something. She's lost her mother a couple of years ago. She's lost a cousin a couple of months ago. So, I mean, she's just losing people. And she has been preaching to her whole family for at least 3 or 4 years. We need to get our estate and our plan in order. And then bam, all of this happens and everybody's running around like a chicken with their head cut off. She mentioned in one of the group meetings here recently that the cousin that died over a month ago just got buried this week because they did not have the money. So that is crazy that that's happening right now.
33% of us have estate planning. You know,
33% of Black people have estate planning.
And what that tells me, Isaac, is that we just have to push harder and get the word out there.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
Right? That low number doesn't mean that we don't care. Right. That low number means that we
don't know.
Right.
You know, we talked about a couple of weeks ago some of the impediments to Black unity and Black financial education, and some of it is we don't know what we don't know. And so when somebody knows, a lot of times they don't want to share that information with other people. You just want to keep it and be like, you know, how you get what I'm just blessed, bro. I'm just blessed. You know, they don't want to share it.
Let me tell you something. I tell people all the time, I say, every blessing that you receive, somebody that you will never meet prayed for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Indeed, brother. Indeed. And to be honest, when we acquire something, this is how you pass this on. This is how you create generational wealth. Think about our stars that we love that died broke. Sammy Davis Jr. died broke. He didn't leave anything to his family.
Yeah.
God dang it. Prince, no estate. Aretha Franklin,
Fox.
no estate planning. Chadwick Boseman, no estate planning.
Big names.
Yeah.
I mean, you make all of this money and then the government swoops in, takes their portion, and then the family members are fighting for crumbs. How do you establish generational wealth
Yeah.
without
How you gonna be the queen of soul and have a docu-pic made about you recently and you can't leave anything to your family? It's not because she didn't do anything.
Right.
Okay? It's because she didn't plan for what she did.
Right.
And
Now,
if somebody, it's just a sad thing to watch all these people, all of these great people's hard-earned money and memorabilia and all this stuff just get auctioned off for pennies on dollar. All
pennies
because
on the
they
dollar.
got bills. Everybody dies with bills, okay? Everybody dies with bills. With proper estate planning, you don't pass that bill on to your children.
Right. Right. Exactly. What do you leave your children? Do you leave them wealth or do you leave them debt?
Exactly.
You know, I listen, Trevor kind of fussed at me last week a little bit about buying stuff, but I want to say this right now. I don't care if you got money and you buy your children nice clothes. But if it's more important for your child to have Jordans than to have some sort of future, like an instrument that is going to take care of them when they're ready to enter the world, then you are sick.
Right.
I don't listen. Buy them Jordans if you want to buy them Jordans. I'm not telling you don't buy them Jordans, but if you opt to buy Jordans over having something for your future, for the children, something is wrong with you. Those shoes they're gonna bust out of them shoes eventually. And then what are they worth?
They're gonna bust out of them. Now for me, okay, and I want y'all to look at this from a broad scale. I done told my kids, I'm not leaving you nothing. I'm not leaving you a damn thing. All right. Now, don't yell at me. All right. Here's why. With proper estate planning, okay, you don't leave your kids anything. Why? Because your kids already own it. If I die today, then tomorrow don't nothing get transferred. Why? Because the owner's alive still. Who's the owner? My kids. So there's no estate tax. There's no inheritance tax. There's no death tax because the owner perpetually lives.
Right.
If you want to know what that means, hit me up, Trevor Evans at trevorevans.com. I'll tell you what time it is. So yes, don't leave your kids shit. Give it to them now. Don't let them know they got it now. Okay.
Hey, does your daughter watch this show? She may know already.
Right.
She already know. She already know she's straight.
Oh,
you know
man.
She rich already.
That's right.
They're still working though.
Trevor, do me a favor, brother. The irrevocable and revocable trust, just so that people understand the technical definition. The revocable trust. So we were talking about this in the production meeting, as you know, and we were talking about family members that own land, a bunch of land. And if it's, let's say it's 10 brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever that jointly own this land. In a revocable trust, if they vote to sell the land, they can all vote to sell the land and change ownerships and things of that nature. But in the revocable trust, it can't be revoked. I mean, I guess it can be dissolved, but you can't necessarily sell the land even if the children wanted to. Is that correct?
Let's get that straight.
Help me out.
All trusts are revocable.
All right.
Okay. All trusts are revocable. The difference is an irrevocable trust has to go through the trust store and the trust and the beneficiary. So without the consent of the beneficiary, then the trust cannot be revoked. Okay. And you put that within the trust. So basically you say this trust cannot be reversed without the trustee counseling with the beneficiary. If you're the beneficiary and you're also the trust, or if you're the beneficiary, one of your children is, then you can choose to say, no, I don't want to revoke that. So all trusts are revocable unless it's not stated in the trust that the beneficiary must give the graces.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I wanted a clarity on that. And the reason I wanted
And
to
I
talk
ain't even no
about,
attorney, bro.
right. I just wanted to get some clarity on that, brother, because I know that you've dealt with that far more than I have. I've had a very limited basis on that. But the reason I brought that up is because how can we create generational wealth when we don't have that level of protection? And we've got to know the types of trust that we have to have. So I know right now, our producer, Tanisha Steiger, if somebody wanted to sell that land and keep it and remove that out of her, because her family owns quite a bit of land. I know if they wanted to sell it, Tanisha may be guilty of murder. I mean, she literally would die before she gets rid of that land. She has expressed how deeply she believes in keeping that. However, my family had several acres of land as well. Actually, not too far from where Tanisha had hers, and my family no longer owns it. And they all voted, and I might have been 11 years old. I had no idea what they were doing. But when they voted, I remember them all getting together out in the farmland discussing it, and they ended up voting to sell the land. And we were generating income from that land. None of us were farmers anymore, but we were renting the farm out to other farmers and creating revenue that all of us split.
Okay.
And it ended up, we were talking about, of course, with BlackEconomics, the ways to generate wealth. And if you own land, you're able to generate some sort of income for yourself. And so we've got to have the proper protection in order to do that, which of course is protection is one of the things that we mentioned when we talk about having a proper protection and saving your future handbook.
Yeah.
All right, so
And real quick, Isaac.
Sure, go ahead.
On top of having all the right things in place, the proper protection, estate planning, and all that, we have to educate our next generations, because it's pointless if we're not educating them. We won't have that wealth long. You know what I mean? So we have to, educate the ones younger than us so that it can really keep on. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Keeping on.
Indeed. We got to have, so that's a very key point, Marcus, because we've got to make sure that they've had an understanding of why this land is important.
Yeah.
You absolutely got to have an understanding of that. I mean, if you just sitting up thinking, man, I can sell this land for pennies on the dollar and get me a car and some Jordans and I can floss out for a while.
Yep.
We don't think like that. We can't afford to think like that. So we got to make sure people.
The thing, Isaac, if the family cannot resolve the issue within themselves, trust the courts will resolve it for you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You don't want that.
And you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Not want that.
You don't want that at all, bro. So, Trevor, we were waiting for you to get on. We kind of skipped over. I want to circle back around to it. We wanted to talk about some of the tax codes that happen when you are talking about, go deep. I know we kind of surface discussed it, but we wanted to talk about some of the tax implications of having it done properly and then having it done improperly when it comes to estate plan.
Okay, so obviously, if it's not done properly, then every tax that you incur, you're going to incur it when you pass away. Because yes, you want to think, oh my God, why am I paying taxes when I'm dead? Well, here's why. Most of the taxes that we pay come from what's called the transference of money. Okay, whenever money changes hands, what is created, Isaac?
A taxable event, my brother.
Taxable event. Yes. So if I'm the individual that owns everything, I'm the rich guy, okay, and I only create a will, right? It's my money that I'm trying to pass on. Yes.
Right.
So that money is in my possession. If I now pass it on to my children, if I now pass it on to my widow, if I pass it on to whomever I choose as the beneficiary or in that receives that benefit, then the money changes hands, and that is what creates the taxable event. So in proper estate planning, all right, you can decide who has what, who gets what. So let's say you got 5 homes and you got, 4 children, okay? You can give each child their own home, right? So that way no one is bickering, all right? And then you can give that 5th home to either all 4 children or someone else. But the key to estate planning is this: you make your family owners of your wealth now, okay? So that when you do pass on as the patriarch or the matriarch, the owners of the estate is alive still. So there really is no proceedings at all, okay? The government doesn't get involved. There's no taxes due. There's no inheritance tax. There's no transfer tax because nothing was transferred, okay? So proper estate planning is your CPA, your attorney, identifying what it is that you want to remain in the family, and that is identified, and you identify who you want to take part in this thing. So if you got 5 kids and you got a house that you don't want to sell or whatnot, or you don't want them to sell, then you make yourself and your 5 children the owners of that property by way of either a LLC or a corporation. All right.
Now,
And then
tie that together, Trevor, with just what Marcus said. I think I just want to pause for a second because I don't want us to skip over what Trevor just said and then tie it to what Marcus said. This is really, I want people to think about this. You have made your children the owner while you are living. Then you, as Marcus said, have educated them.
yes,
Then as they have children, they
educate
make
them.
their children the owner,
Owner.
and that tax just gets pushed off.
Yes, there's no tax. Yes,
There is no tax. You eliminate that tax, and then they educate that. So Anheuser-Busch, not only did Mr. Bush will his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and all of that stuff into their business, all of their assets just keep getting pushed on and on and on and on, preserving their wealth.
why do you think Beyonce, okay, threw blue on that one song? Why do you think these celebrities make their children producers of a damn song or a record? Because they now own a piece of that. So now there's no tax on what's earned in royalties. There's no tax on what's earned because they are owners themselves. That is proper estate planning. You make your children owners now so that when you do pass away, nothing is transferred. But you must educate your children, because if you don't educate them, they will transfer it to somebody else, which would be the government.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's how the wealth stays in the wealthy, is because the father trains the children train the grandchildren, so on, and the wealth just goes on perpetually for generations to come. And you wonder why you never see these uber rich people. Whenever you hear somebody passed away in the right family, okay, you never hear about people fighting over what they get or what they don't get. Okay, if someone dies that's rich and you know they're rich and you hear nothing about anybody fighting, proper estate planning was put together.
Right. Right. And the thing about it, man, here's the other thing that we don't want to do, Trevor. My mother almost sometimes morbidly, she's just like, listen, we need to talk about such and such when I die. And of course, you don't want to, like, Ma, I don't want to talk about that. But,
right.
She's like, listen, this is what we need to do. We don't want to have that conversation. We literally are just like, I don't want to talk about it. And it's something that has to happen. It's almost like we feel like if we talk about it, we're going to bring it into existence. And it's not like we're going to bring it into existence. It's going to happen. Every single one of us that was born is going to die. And none of us know the day or the hour, so we should have proper estate planning. I guarantee you the 500,000 people that died of COVID in 2019, they weren't thinking they was going to get sick and die of COVID. Then 2020 shows up and then boom, none of us know that day of the hour. So
Yep.
the fact that we just are so scared to talk about it, man, and this is something that must happen. Look at how Asian people talk about it. They're blowing up here in Gwinnett County. Look at how Jews talk about it. Look how Indians talk about it.
Man's 6 basic fears are poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love or loss of someone, old age, and death. Okay, all right. And the first and the last is what we think about every day. We don't want to die, and we don't want to die poor.
Yep.
You
Yep,
know?
indeed. What's the name of that book that God dang it. I can't think of it. He did an audio, man, God dang it. He talked about those 6 fears. I cannot think of that name of that book, but
Outwitting the Devil?
I said Outwitting the Devil. What's the author's name though?
Oh, Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, man, how I forget Napoleon Hill?
Napoleon Hill.
That's a good book. That's something everybody should take a minute out and read that book.
Okay, let me tell you something about that book. First of all, before I even go any further, if you choose to get that book, all right, you better have some thick ass skin, all right, and do not listen to that book in the dark, okay? I do recommend you listen to the audio version of that book, all right? And here's why. That book was written 2 years after he wrote Think and Grow Rich, okay? Guess when that book was published?
In the 70s or 80s, wasn't it?
2011. Why?
Had no idea.
Because his wife said this book will never, ever, ever, ever see the light of day as long as a family member in the Hill family is alive. Okay, so his wife made him put the book in a trust and said it cannot be released until the entire family died off. Because that book was so controversial because it was about Napoleon Hill having a conversation with the devil, okay? And the conversation was, hey, devil, please tell me how you control everyone and how everyone can break that control. And the devil agreed on one condition. And that condition was Napoleon Hill had to address the devil as your majesty.
Right. Now,
when asked why must I address you as your majesty, the devil said this, well, I control 98% of everyone in the world. Doesn't that rate me as royalty?
Right. And he used, in the way he, Conversation with the Devil, Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Right, Outwitting the Devil. And basically the conversation is about how the devil uses, and the devil says, you know, I'm not necessarily a man per se. I'm more so an idea or energy. Yeah. And I use fear, basically, of the 6 things that he just mentioned. I use fear of those things to keep the population in control.
Yes.
So we need entrepreneurship, but what are we afraid of? We're afraid of failing and being poor. So we don't try entrepreneurship. We're scared of death. We're scared of ill health.
Right.
Well, all of these things.
It goes Bible 1A, okay, Outwitting the Devil 1B, and everything else. That book, and again, no subject is left unturned. And the devil says this: it's very, very easy to control people. All right. He says this.
Look, Edward's got it up. There it is.
He says this: tell me what you love the most. And then tell me what you fear the most. And that's how I'm gonna control you.
Exactly. So I mean, that right there, brother, is a certainly a fantastic book. I certainly advise everybody to read it. Tanisha, real quick, she had a while we were talking there, she redid the illustration for the IUL. She did it at increasing on the 18-year-old. So let's take a look at that if she's got that ready.
Look at them numbers.
Look at that. That's different numbers. That's $100,000 by the age of 32. Now, how long? That's using compound interest.
Yep.
How long did it take for 5 guys at $100 to get, 102? You just get more money. And then you're noticing, listen, if he dies, the death benefit helps out. Now, you got to have trust for people. you don't want nobody murdering you. But at the same time, look at that.
But at
and then
45, he worth $1 million.
right, 45, $1 million. So scroll down a little further. So scroll down to 65. So imagine just doing this on your own. This is just you, and you're putting $500 in, starting at 18. At age 65, that death benefit total $1.67 million, which he has access to for all types of things. He can turn that on and drip it out to him for the rest of his life if that's what he wants to do. And this isn't even including if he maximized it in certain years. Like if he got tax money and he said, I'm gonna put in an extra $5,000 or whatever. This is just keeping it at the straight basic. I got $500 saved. This is what I'm gonna do. This isn't including anything extra where he's increasing it or doing anything to add on to it. Imagine doing this for a child.
And if he spent no money at all, he'll transfer 1.6 mil and an additional 801,000, all tax free.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then he put in only $98,000.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's
98,000. You get over 1 million.
So if we're looking there, scroll back up real quick for me, so we can kind of explain this to everybody. He stopped putting in money at age 35, and the money that he put in was $98,000 total.
Nice.
That's it. And now he's transferring 1.6 million plus 800,000 by the time he dies, if he doesn't spend a dime.
How many of you at 48 years old, 55 years old, 65, how many of you could use an extra 800,000 and $100,000 just sitting there?
Right. Just sitting there looking at you.
See, some of y'all, this is what I say, some of y'all money is lazy, all right? Right? This money right here, it worked out every day. Every day, this money gets up, okay? Before I get up, takes a shower, all right? Shaves, put the red coloring in the beard, throws on the damn suit, put the damn tie on, throw on the Yves Saint Laurent, and goes out the door, right? And comes back home with more of itself. That's what the money does.
Now think about Trevor. Can somebody go, hey man, look, I got a 401k right now with $100,000 in it. They take this money out, they're gonna get hit with taxes, true enough. But then they put it in here. Let's just say they had let's say they had 130, got hit with taxes, and they got $98,922 left. They already have contributed. They can contribute right now what this person contributed over.
Yes, right now.
Over time.
One lump sum, leave it alone.
One lump sum and leave it alone. How many? It's a ton of us right now that got $98,000 in our 401k, or more than that, or more than that in our 401k.
Here's the thing, Isaac. It's your money, but you gotta go ask for it. Please, can I have some of my money, please? Which one for? I want to go to school. I want to buy a gun. You gotta beg for your own damn money, and then get taxed on it.
Exactly. So you got a 401k with this amount of money in it right now, and you can go put it in, and then boom, you're already here at this point where this gentleman.
I'm gonna say it right now on this show, okay? And I don't care who watching, all right? Okay, I don't care who advised you. I don't care who done told you to do it. All right, I know what I'm talking about. If you got 401k and no one's taught you anything yet, you have got one of the worst freaking vehicles for your money. I'm sorry to tell you, okay? If you got 401k, come holler at me, cause you're sucking at, you hate, life ain't working out for you right now. All right, okay? Life ain't good right now. You're sucking right now. A 401k does nothing for you. It's a tax code, IRC, Internal Revenue Code 401k. If you got 401k, holler at me, because you're hurting right now.
Right.
So Tanisha, I love Tanisha. she posted, she said, if you had a 401k with $98,000 in it, when you take that out, the government, the gang, the gangster, the robber is gonna take $30,000 of that.
Yes, and then Isaac, what you do get, you're now going to be taxed at your individual tax rate. So you're looking at roughly almost 50% you're going to pay in taxes just to use your money in an emergency.
Your money. Terrible.
Who was y'all advisor? They wasn't named Trevor, because if you were named Trevor, I'd say F the 401k. That's what I'd say.
Trevor,
Come on.
Trevor, on this show of Fathers and Finances, I don't need you to be beating around the bush. I'm gonna need you to kind of express yourself and not hide how you truly feel on this show, brother. I'm gonna need you to be more authentic and tell me how you feel on this show.
I'm sorry. If anyone tells me they got a 401k and that's what they're banking on, I look in their face and I say this: "Oh, bless your heart," and I walk on.
This is so crazy because they get taxed on that night. The $30,000 is coming out, and then you're gonna pay the remaining money your individual tax rate. So,
and your employer probably put your money in a damn IUL.
Probably did so. Probably did so. So, people, listen. I want to talk on that so much further, but literally, if you have a 401k right now, and you're fairly young, go ahead and take that tax hit, because you don't want to take that tax hit when you turn 65 and you get ready to retire.
Let me rephrase that, okay? Because as awesome and as knowledgeable as Isaac is, Isaac cannot tell you to take the tax hit.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I would take the tax hit. Thank you. I'm sorry. There you go. I would take the tax hit. That would be me. I apologize. Thank you for protecting me, Trevor. I apologize. Thank you for protecting your brother. I would advise, if it was me, I would take the tax hit. That's what I would do.
There you go.
You do what you want to do with your own money. But if that was me, I would take the tax hit. And then I would put it in the IUL. So I'm not saying that that's what you should do. I'm just saying what I would do. So thank you, Trevor. I appreciate you correcting your brother. I absolutely
Anytime.
Man, brother, it's 7:30, man. God,
already?
Dang. But listen, I knew this was gonna happen, so we're gonna have to have a part 2 on the economics, brother, because there's so many other things. I don't even know if we got to everything that we said we was gonna do in the production meeting. So I just
hey, Tanisha, guess what, girl? Guess what, Tanisha?
What?
It happened again today.
You woke up like this?
I look better than I did yesterday. It just keeps happening, girl. I know what's up. It just keeps happening. I wake up, I look at it, I'm like, damn, I look better than I did yesterday. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
You can only hope to contain him. You're not gonna stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
It's Aquarius Nation. I can't get mad about it.
That's right? It's Aquarius thing. It's Aquarius thing.
Man. All right, so guys, man, I absolutely appreciate everybody that came on. So I wasn't even looking in the chat. That we put the link in for the financial education. So if you would like a personal financial strategy done by either myself, Marcus, Patrick, or Trevor, please click on the link in the chat. Otherwise, the link would certainly be on Facebook Live, and it will also be on YouTube Live once YouTube Live is posted up. So guys, do we have any other things that we want to mention before we get out of it? And again, real quick, what I'm going to say again, I'm Isaac. Our campaign is WSB Financial Literacy. Talk to us, reach out to us. Come to us if you want to learn a little bit more information. If you want to become a campaigner, you say, well, I don't know anything. That's fine. None of us knew anything either. You start somewhere. Yeah. Take the classes. I took the classes. All of us took the classes. Come on board, join this campaign. And as you learn something, share it with somebody else. They'll share it with somebody else. We have got to take this collective mindset and just spread it. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning with the Patel Corporation, we can do that. We can help each other grow. We can take care of our own community. So you guys have any closing remarks that you want to make?
Good.
No closing remarks? All right. Well, next week will be part 2 of Black Economics. I am looking forward to it. As they said in the old school, same back time, same back channel. I'm sorry, same black time, same black channel. We will be back next week with Black Economics. Take care, guys. Love you. Peace.
All right.
Everybody have a good day.
For sure.